Okay, sorry I'm a bit late. Let's do a quick mic check here. All right, I think the mic sounds okay. Get chat in the right place. All righty, there we go. Yes. Okay, there we go. Hey everyone, how's it going today? How's your Sunday? I will be switching cameras in just a second. All right. Stepped on something. Okay. My face cam is not working. Hey, chat. There we go. It's camera inception right now. All right, there we go. Alrighty. Oh, I totally forgot I need to do this. All right. So I will be finishing this painting today. It is pretty close to finished. But yeah. Um, why is my Discord being weird? Didn't go in. Oh, that's weird. It didn't go into streamer mode. Hmm. How do I put it manually into streamer mode? There we go. All right. That was weird. Got it done. Okay. Now I'm still here. I just forgot I need to take the photo that I just took and put it into Photoshop real quick. Because this is probably the last time I will do that. It's basically just for the details to make sure that everything is in the right place. There are some of her features that are a little hard to do. They're at like, some of her features are at tough angles, and that makes it a little difficult. So I'm going to take extra time to make sure I get those correct. So we'll be doing that. I know, not the best content to just be standing off screen talking about it, but I've said this many times. I'm very wary of like showing my screen, um, because I don't want to accidentally, um, show like NDA related stuff or anything, just extra cautious about that stuff. Alrighty. It is pretty close. I will say that. It's a little bit off on her nose, just the slightest bit, but it's pretty, her features are pretty spot on at the moment. Let me just grab my glasses because when I get into those details, I'm definitely going to need my glasses. Fortunately. Righty. So today we're going to get to see, well, maybe we'll get to see if I can recreate that look I want on the sides there. And I say maybe because I'm not 100% sure that it's dry. And if it's not dry, then I can't. So until it dries, it's one of those instances where I'm actually using like true layering. And it doesn't dry, I can't truly layer properly. So we'll see. Mm, does not appear to be truly dry. That's unfortunate. Well, I guess I won't be finishing that part of the painting until later. Because until this area, basically until these big white areas dry, I can't finish this painting. But I can do everything else, basically. All right, I'm very tempted to start with the head, but I think that would be probably dumb of me, so I won't. And I will start in some other areas first. Let me make sure everything is in focus. There we go. Okay. The painting is in a bit of an awkward stage where like some of it's dry, some of it's not. Probably should just leave it alone, let everything dry, come back to it later. But I'm, I really just want to be done with the painting. I have um, 3 or 4. Actually, I have more than that, but I have like 3 or 4 recent paintings that I need to get back to. I absolutely hate how fast this paint dries. The burnt or is it burnt sienna? I can't remember, but yeah, the sienna color, I absolutely hate how fast it dries. One of my biggest complaints about the earth tones. Of course, if you want it to dry fast, you know, like I've said before, that is a huge advantage. I don't want it to dry faster. There are times where, you know, I do. Very rarely. It's usually involving a deadline. Otherwise, I pretty much don't. But yeah, when there's deadlines, you need to ship it out at a certain time. I get it. But otherwise, there are very few times I want it to dry. Even the part that needs to dry for me to um what's it called? For me to finish the painting, the only reason I need to layer it is because the um the the previous layer already dried. If it had not dried, I wouldn't even need that. So it's only because it dried so fast that that I need that. Otherwise, even that I wouldn't. There are certain techniques that, having a dry surface to work on is helpful. I'm not going to pretend like there's never an instance where it's useful. Absolutely, there are tons of instances where you like layering things, especially to get like clean lines, to do perspective, all kinds of stuff like that. Sometimes you just need to put some tape down, You don't want to put tape down on a wet paint. I get that. So there are instances, but overall, not something that I usually need or want. Hmm. Let's see. All right. A little more subtlety in the hand, but we'll figure it out. So I'm trying to put more saturated color near the like edge here to help it feel like it's glowing and get some of that light spilling over effect a little bit and the fringing effect kind of thing. Also trying to soften up the edge just a little bit. If your paint is dry and you can't soften up an edge, obviously you could, in theory, repaint both sides of the edge and soften it up. But another option is to just, like, you can create the illusion of soft edges with hard edges, um, if they're very small from a distance, you know. I mean, sure, it won't look like it up close, but that can create visual interest as well. Sometimes the fact that when painting went into wet, the brush can pick up color as well and transfer it can be very helpful for softening edges. Sometimes it gets in the way. You have to be cautious so that you get the effect that you want. Hey, Des. Um, Des says I was outside back in now for a bit working on the gardening. Oh, nice. I hate gardening, but I know a lot of people love it. I know it's technically, in theory, very healthy for people. Uh, not a fan, but you know, that's just me. That's mostly because the outdoors hate me. How you doing, Des? I don't like gardening, but my sister does, and we have some stuff to prep the beds. I wanted to work on the shed, and that still isn't built, but it's too windy to be holding up metal panel walls. Fair, fair. Gotta be careful. You don't want to blow away with the shed, you know, parts of the shed while you're trying to build it. Yeah, it's been really hot here, and I was working in the garage preparing panels and stuff for painting. But oh, it is so hot even in even outside direct sunlight. Crazy. Actually, I moved our car outside of you know, outside of the garage, uh, in the driveway, and I realized after a little bit that the glass was reflecting the sun at me. And I was like, if I don't move the car, I am going to actually get sunburned while standing in the shade. Not a big deal, obviously, but it's just I had to, you know, catch it in time, which I did, luckily. But yeah, it's just funny. None of this paint fresh. Yeah, I thought there's a fresh pile in here. It appears not. But yeah, I've been prepping panels and doing all this stuff, and I am very much on the fence about if I will continue to buy wood to paint on or go back to the plastic ABS. It's just so much easier. The ABS, it's a little more expensive, but it's not crazy expensive compared to like, like like art store panels or something like that. But oh my God, the amount of prep time is just, it's such a huge difference. So it's like a huge difference in price or a huge difference in prep time, right? I don't know. We'll see. I hate spending all my time prepping panels. It's driving me crazy. All right, let's get some black because I need it. And I know this is something that comes up a lot when people use black. There's nothing wrong with using black paint. I know they say mix it yourself. You don't have to mix it yourself. You just have to know the properties of black paint and how it affects your painting, both positively and negatively. But if you're first starting out and you're a student, and you're like beginning stages, yeah, not using black is not a bad thing to start with because it will help you not rely on black, uh, for the like right things or the wrong things rather. So it's one of those things. It's not bad to do that. However, if you're past that point, yeah, you can use black. It's not a big deal. And since I'm putting out paint, I might as well put out a little more burnt sienna. Because the stuff I have is dry. Alrighty. Okay, it does. Um, would you, whatever is easier, does, it doesn't matter to me. Uh, Without any more context, it's hard for me to say, you know. Um, if it's something I'm going to have to like respond to or something, I don't know. It just kind of depends. But if it's just to look at, doesn't really matter to me. So yeah, like here, you know, getting these very exact straight lines is definitely challenging and not something that I excel at necessarily. There's an artist online. I can't remember her name right now. A really good artist. She does a lot of still life paintings. And she's so precise with how she does this type of stuff. Like she does a lot of lettering because she does still life. So she does like bottles, paintings of things with like labels. And she paints in the lettering and the logos and everything. She does such a good job of it. I think her name it's Julie. Um, Julie Beckert, I think? Or am I mixing up my names? I think it is Julie Beckert. If anyone's wondering why this light is kind of going into her head in some way, something like that, it's not. What's happening is this is her hair here, and the behind her is a shadow, and this is the wall and the door frame. And so there's light coming in from the other angle, which is illuminating where the shadow is. That's what's happening here. I just need to, make sure that's clear. So be working on that for a little bit. All right, now for some of this, I'm going to go to my other favorite technique for making straight lines using, relatively speaking, straight things. I find it very helpful. Oh, oops. I'm muted. Sorry about that. Hey, Alexander, welcome. Can't have a stream without me accidentally muting myself. Welcome. Good to see you. How have you been? I was just standing here talking to myself. All right, Des. Alexander Davenport is a fantastic artist based out of the UK. Um, I don't know. It's been a while. I have not been keeping up with people as much as I'd like. Are you still streaming on Twitch? He may have left because I was like talking to myself on mute. And he may have died from secondhand embarrassment and just left. I wouldn't blame him. Folds are so fun to paint, but also sometimes frustrating. It is hard to keep track of them sometimes. One thing that isn't taught very often, well, I don't know if isn't taught is the right word, but one thing I've noticed with fabric that's like a real challenging point that sometimes doesn't get addressed as much is um, how fabric can sometimes change color or value based off of the angle because of how it can reflect light, but also because of the weave. Sometimes because of, the fabric itself, what it's like made out of, sheer stuff especially becomes more opaque as you're looking at it from the side, but other things can also have their color shift based off of like the angle because of the weave. It can get very, very complicated. which, is fun, but also challenging. And then if you're going to do fabric from imagination, uh, something to really get good at learning is the different like way that different types of fabric fold, thicker, thinner, uh, softer folds, harder folds, all that stuff. Like I said, it gets complicated. I would not claim to be like a expert at it. I just, you know, I can manage. All right, let's see. Time to use the glasses so I can get the details in the face right. Her nose is one of the hardest features for me because of the angle of everything. And it's also a very small space. That's why sometimes, you know, painting small is actually more difficult than painting large. And it depends what you're painting. But yeah, certain details, they get, the smaller they get, like it can get harder, not easier. Nope, I didn't clean my brush good enough, and I have too much other colors. I don't know if you all can even see the changes I'm making. They're so small right now, but I can't help myself. I gotta get it right. Back in a few, I think we're mapping the ground. Okay, no worries, Des. Good luck. Okay, I made our nose too large now, but that's the outside edge, I think. And I think I can fix that pretty easily. I'm just trying to shift the bottom edge of her nose now. Now I'm just softening up that edge. I am destroying the other nostril, but that's fine. Yeah, this is why I say it's a lot of times smaller features on smaller paintings are so much harder if you want to get that detail right. Honestly, one of the best advice is to not try and get that detail right, but to just imply it all and not actually do the detail. But I kind of committed to it already, unless I just give up. But you know, I'm not above. So one of the interesting things, in my opinion, in her face is that because of the angle, you're actually on the upper lip. Um, Seeing like, how can I describe this? You're seeing like above the lip line, but it's making it kind of look like the lip line. So it's kind of displacing things a little in a weird way. Interesting. Let's see. No, not what I wanted to do. All right. Probably should grab my liner brush for this. Doesn't mean I'm going to, but I probably should. All right. Ooh, I need to take a break. Don't want my camera to overheat. Alrighty, I am going to take a quick break and get something to drink. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Oh, let's do some quick stretches. Oh, alrighty. No, I think I'm actually gonna grab another brush to help finish some of this painting. I feel like it might be beneficial. Oh, and I won't be able to finish all the painting anyways, because some of it's wet, so I'll have to wait for that part to dry. But I can finish basically everything else. I might do that in just a minute. I was gonna grab my brush, but first I'm gonna do something here that I noticed that I want to address. Stupid ads. How is it that the auto mod is so strict on certain things, but these guys get past the auto mod all the time? All right, let me get my other brush. This brush is interesting. It's a softer bristle, and because it's a softer bristle, better for blending, but it also, uh, well, for softer blending, maybe not all blending, but then you can also get a sharper edge with it, but the edge does not last very long because it's softer. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, the reason I wanted to grab this was so that I could do some softer blending here and there. I do like paintings where you see brush strokes. I think that's pretty obvious. But I also like softer stuff. I do enjoy more subtle things too. So I like to combine the two, ideally. The unevenness of the surface, some of it being dry, some of it not, is messing things up a bit for me. Not gonna lie. Not a big deal, just annoying. Yeah, fabric, try, keeping track of all the folds and everything. Definitely something that can be, I find, challenging sometimes. So easy to get lost. Obviously, the general standard, work big to small, all that obviously still applies and is very helpful. But yeah. Yeah, right now I'm just trying to keep track of all these folds and put all the, dark spots in the right place and so on. It is bunching up in a way that I don't think I would normally, like, if I was inventing it, I don't think I would have ever invented it quite like this, which is always good to study when you come across something like this. Another thing about folds is that personally, one of the things I find helpful is trying to understand how, the folds actually work in like 3 dimensions, you know, like why are they making these folds? Now, I know not everyone like has the same type of, like everyone's brain works differently. So for some people, that's not going to be helpful at all. You might have to learn folds in different ways, but for me, I find it helpful. And what I mean by that is that, like, why, for instance, you know, I understand that, like, it's lighter. This spot is lighter because, obviously anything's lighter because more light's hitting it, first of all. That's like the obvious. But why is more light hitting it? Because it's bunching out, which granted is the obvious, answer for most of this stuff. But like, why is it bunching out over here and then, you know, over here and so on? And then actually, sometimes some parts are actually lighter when they're not bunching out. It's just the angle of how the light is hitting it. Sometimes it's in the recesses actually that it like gets lighter. Kind of like when, you see like porcelain or black, you know, pottery or whatever, like the way that sometimes that can be shiny in certain areas, you know, sometimes in the concave parts actually, or is it convex? No, concave. Yeah. Like that part, I need to work on it a little more. And one thing that really helps indicate like certain elements is those hard edges, like when there's a cast shadow, is that signals that this isn't it's a hard edge, so it's not a form shadow, but a cast shadow, which, obviously can describe form, but it does it in a different manner. Also, shadows are not, well, under single light, I would say, they're not additive, meaning when they cross each other, they don't become darker. They just stay like that, as dark as the shadow is, that's how dark it is. There are exceptions to that under the right circumstances when you have multiple light sources, um, or when you have fringing happening in the light. Um, for whatever reason, that can change that. The values here are all so close together, and I'm just going to group them together and then go in with subtle changes because it's just too close together to be worth putting in that kind of detail in any other way. think that is too light here. Yeah, that's better. Generally speaking, we don't, as people, we don't see very good in extreme lighting. You know, things are way too bright, blinding, and if things are too dark, obviously we have a hard time seeing. I think people are way more familiar with the dark than blinding light to that degree, generally speaking, but you know, I think most people can relate to both. And so for areas where very dark, usually good to kind of soften up a lot of the edges because we just don't see super sharp edges in the dark. That's why people say to squint when painting. It helps group up your shadows and all the colors that are close to each other in value and color. So yeah, this is getting a little muddy. In fact, I think I'm going to muddy it up more, make it easier to define. Often it's easier to just make something and like paint over it and then paint back into it. Alrighty. Oh, sorry about that. Still recovering from my flu. So, as far as like what still needs work here, um, the big white parts need work, but I can't touch them until they're dry. And then there's a little bit of definition stuff in her leg that needs work, but because I'm probably going to combine that with the white as far as like getting a bigger brush and going, over and back and forth into it to try and get more unity and, combine all the elements more. Um, I don't know that there's that. And then let's see. I could maybe soften up the like door marks. They're a little too sharp. And maybe I'm debating, she doesn't really have highlights on her face that much, so if I go in and put any brighter spots, I feel like it'd be too much. Yeah, I think I'm gonna call it, I mean, like I said, it's not done until I go back and finish the white parts, but can't, I can't do that. So let's see. Other than that, um, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to call this done until then. I'm deciding if I want to grab one of my other paintings and try and do some work on it or not right now. I think probably not. My back is needing a bit of a break, I think. Hey, Ike Designs, welcome. How you doing? How have you been? I'm okay, hope you are well. Yeah, I'm doing all right. I was out of town for a bit and I'm back now. Uh, did, caught a bit of a cold while I was there, but nothing major. Just explaining why less streams than and why it took me a while to get back into streaming and no videos yet. But, working on it. I'm working on the script for a couple videos simultaneously. I've got stuff coming out, just ooh, a bit slow. But yeah. I don't know if you watched any of the what's it called? I don't know if you watched my last stream or anything, the VOD. No, you know, not like you have to. I'm just saying if you didn't, I can explain this painting because it's kind of a bit out of my norm. I wanted to try doing a painting with burnt sienna because I got a tube of burnt sienna for free by accident. So I wanted to give it a shot. And it's a very pretty color, but um it's mostly like one of those things that you know, like you have to put it on, you know, with transparency to get that really beautiful like orangey glow from it. And I don't really like to paint that way very much. So I very quickly started adding colors to compensate. And then I decided that I wanted to add even more color, mostly red, just to warm her up even more. And then I added black to knock the background back a bit and make it cooler. Um, and blue to darken the areas, you know, without going to black for mostly for her, for the areas that need to go very dark. So yeah, a lot going on. And then the white, I did like some of the transparency colors though, so I decided since it had already dried, I would paint in some white areas and then go back over it with the burnt sienna, but they haven't dried yet. So everything in the painting's done except for those parts that need, you know, need addressing, but I can't do that until it dries. So yeah, a bit different than like my normal, you know, go-to. But I wanted to mess around with burnt sienna a bit just because I had a whole tube of it, and I don't know if I've ever painted with burnt sienna. I've used raw umber, but I don't or burnt umber, but I don't know that I've ever used raw sienna or burnt sienna. So I thought it'd be fun to try. It's not my favorite color in the world, or rather, it's not my favorite paint to use in the world. Um, but it was a fun experiment, and it's a very pretty color. So Ike says it is looking good. I also took a bit of a break from drawing and I'm easing back into it. Oh, nice. Yeah, everyone needs a break sometimes. Not a bad thing. Yeah. So, this one is like I said, almost done. And then I have this painting which I can share, but I will not work on in what's it called? On stream. It's almost finished anyways. This is an experiment. I will discuss this painting when it's done. Um, you know, I'll probably wait, I think I recorded it. I hope I did. Either way, I'll do probably do a post about it because this is an experiment painting and you can't see what is the experiment in it at the moment, but it is an experiment. So, uh, experiments like this, I prefer to do on my own times because I want to have the focus that I need for it and also not be afraid of making a mistake or, you know, like not worry about that aspect of it. Yeah. But yeah. And then I have like two paintings that I started on stream that I still need to finish. Other paintings. That'll be this week. I'll try and do that. I saw a mistake, so I had to go fix it. But yeah, I sometimes struggle to give myself the space to take breaks, but I do think it's good. It's a way for us to recharge and so on. So I think it's a good thing. Also, I can finally hear again in my right ear. I uh, I had to fly with a cold, and after that I could not hear out of my right ear. Barely. So I'm glad that my hearing has come back. I wasn't really worried it wouldn't. I expected it to, but it was very, very annoying. Uh, all right. Well, unfortunately, I was pretty much at the end of things. Let's see. I tried Micron graphic pens, and I was pleasantly surprised with the results. Microns are fantastic. There's a one major problem with microns that I personally have with them is that they dry up too fast. That's been my only real complaint with them. They're fantastic. I love them, or I used to. I don't really draw like that much anymore. But yeah, I used to love microns, but that was my only complaint was that they dried up too fast. Yes, the drying part is no, sorry. I mean that they like not that the ink line runs out, but the pen itself dries, so the pen runs out of ink basically too fast for my taste. That's what I'm talking about. No, the ink dries absolutely fine. Like I said, I think they're great pens. I found them super frustrating that they would, yeah. Uh, but I don't know. Maybe that's just me. I'm not sure. Um, yeah, I don't know if I have any more, but I used to have a huge collection because I did more like I did comic books and conventions and stuff like that. Um, so I still have, I don't know if no, I still have it. I think I still have like a big, I think I still have a big marker collection somewhere, but that I don't touch anymore. It's just in storage. I should probably just sell it. Um, they're probably not even good anymore. I don't know if I could even sell them at this point. Um, it wasn't on purpose to kind of transition slowly away from doing that stuff. And forgot about it. Ike says they have survived 6 small portraits for me. Oh, nice. I mean, they could have also changed how how they did it. Oh, Lucky Ascended said, that is some great art. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. It's a oil painting, by the way, because usually that's the next question, what medium it's in. So yeah, oil paint. But welcome. How are you doing today? I have two chats, by the way, if you're wondering, like, why am I talking to random people that you don't know, can't see? I have a chat in YouTube as well. So I bounce between the two, trying to keep everyone, trying to keep up with everyone. Um, so over on YouTube, Ike is talking about discovering micron pens for the first time, and I was talking about the fact that I used to do more comic book work, and I used to use microns and Copex and uh, all those variations of that. I think before Copex, I bought Blick, store brand markers because I couldn't afford Copex. And then I think I got, oh, what was it? Um, I don't remember the name of the brand. Um, Prismacolor markers, I think. Those were not good at all. Actually, no, they were fine. They had a lot of they had a lot of issues that Copic gets around by having refills and by being able to swap out tips and stuff like that. Anyways, sorry. Um, Lucky Ascendant, do you do art? Are you an artist as well? A lot of times people who stop by are, so I always ask. And if so, what type of art do you do? And if not, that's okay too. No, you're not an artist? That's fair. Uh, we appreciate art appreciators here as well. Although I always encourage people to just make art. It doesn't have to be painting, doesn't have to be drawing, but I always encourage people to do something artistic because I fully believe it's very much a like human thing to do and really good for people. Oh, hey, getting a raid from Peculiar Colors. Welcome. Lucky Ascendant says my painting is not great. That doesn't matter. You don't have to be a great painter to enjoy it. And paint for the process. Don't worry about the results as much. It's real. That's where it starts. You know, not you don't have to be the best painter to enjoy it and to get something out of it. Welcome, Raiders. How's it going? Peculiar Raid, welcome. Peculiar Colors, Jazzy Doodles, welcome. Hey, Donley. Donley's over in YouTube chat. How you doing, Donley? Oh, and in Twitch. Hey, Donley. How you doing? Peculiar Colors, what were you up to today? What, I assume art just based off of the name. Let's see. I'm not familiar with your stuff, but I would like to be. Making some Frerin art. Free, free, not pronouncing that right, and I know that. That that's the anime, if I remember correctly, and I might not remember correctly. That's the anime with the elf that lives for like a very long time, correct? The, that if I remember correctly. But I could be wrong. I'm horrible with names. But that's awesome. If you want to share, and I understand sometimes it's difficult when you just finish streaming to share, but if you'd like to share what you were working on or your Instagram or something, you're more than welcome to. This painting is beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. It's kind of stuck at the moment. I have to wait for these light areas to dry before I can finish the painting because I need to like layer over it, but it's not dry at the moment, so the painting's a little stuck at the moment. But yeah. All right. You'll drop your Insta. Awesome. Let's take a look. The girl with the pearl earring is funny. That's funny. Uh, I have quite the variety of styles. Uh, nice. Very nice. Oh, some animals, some hand study, very nice hand studies. Oh, you have quite the variety here. Um, Here, um let me share this with my YouTube chat in case anyone wants to check you out there. They can. Very, very nice. You dabble in everything and all things. Hey, I think a lot of artists do that. I mean, this this is oil painting, or oil paints, but before I did oil paints, I used to be mostly all digital, and before that, watercolor and pen and ink, and comic book style. And, we go through a ton of changes as we go through life, as artists. And I think it's very common for artists to have like a huge variety of things that they're into. So I think that's pretty normal and also very cool. It's also really interesting how sometimes you can grab elements from different types of art that you make and bring them together in different ways. Like let's see. Here, let me show you. Um, so I don't know if you're familiar with Dylan Sarah. He is a artist and he has a YouTube channel, the Dylan Sarah. But he does a lot of drawings, and he has a show on YouTube, Drawn Together, and I swear I'll find it somewhere here. So he has a show. Here it is. Found it. Found it. Found it. He has a show, Drawn Together, where he like interviews people, artists, and they draw the person they're interviewing and so on. And because he focuses more on like pen and ink and sometimes watercolor. It kind of changes up a bit, but I did a painting of Dylan Sarah. Um, oh, it's a little too bright. Hold on a second. 1 second. Let me take the color grading off. So hard to get the colors right. But yeah, so I did this and I tried to really get like the drawing. You can see the drawn marks in. um Let me see if I can show it better. Yeah, like all the little drawn marks. I tried to incorporate that into it because of his style. So I tried to combine the two. And if I didn't have all that experience doing like more comic booky work, comic book style work and pen and ink and everything, I don't know that I could have necessarily. So I do think that like it's always fun when you can take elements from, different you know um art styles and so on and merge them together. And I paint with gloves for safety reasons, although to anyone who wants to get into oil paints who is not in oil paints, it is not really that dangerous if you're cautious about it. Um, I also have cats who show up sometimes, uh, and I want to be able to have clean hands and pick them up and stuff like that. Peculiar Co says, I'm going to lurk and have some dinner, but thanks so much for having us and showing some art. Oh, thank you so much for the raid. Absolutely. And you're welcome to lurk. I am going to just finish up a little bit of details, some stuff here for a little bit. Like I said, I can't actually finish this painting right now. Not all of it at least. So just gonna finish up the knee a bit. But yeah. This painting is also a little bit of a departure from my normal style, just a little, not huge, but because I tried to use burnt sienna um, in this painting. I wanted to really highlight the color because I got a free tube of paint and I was like, I should probably do something with this. But I quickly realized that it didn't quite work for me. It's a gorgeous color, there's nothing wrong with it. So I started adding colors to kind of, you know, to figure a way of making it work for me, which I think I have. But yeah, just a little slight departure from my normal style a little bit. Oh, I should actually probably drop a I know it's in my I know it's in my information, but let me also get my YouTube link for you all. Um, that way I can just drop it in chat. Um, for anyone who wants it. I probably should what's it called? Not probably. I definitely should make a a shortcut and like do all that stuff, but I never do. But yeah, I what's it called? The reason I wanted to make sure to share that is because I stream on both Twitch and YouTube, but I also make videos on YouTube. I'm a little behind on video making, but at the moment, but I promise I'll have new videos out soon. But yeah, just thought I'd share that. Everyone makes fun of me because I I don't have any of the commands set up. Like people try and use the command to show the Discord link. That never works. But basically like nothing is set up properly. I don't know if anyone's done any anatomy studies on the knee. It is such a funky joint. It's so weird. Actually, I think a lot of joints that people have are pretty weird, but yeah, the knee's definitely a weird one. I think mostly because of the kneecap. But not only. Don Lee, by the way, I apologize for not saying anything, but you are also welcome to share your Twitch and other things as well. For anyone who doesn't know Don Lee is a streamer as well, and he streams art, digital art, and sometimes games. Uh, and his stuff's always a lot of fun. Way more pop culture and relevant than my stuff. It was funny earlier today, one of my other streamer friends showed up to say hi, and he then abruptly left. And I think it's because I was muted when he came in and I was talking to him, and well, that doesn't really work very well. So I think he just left eventually out of embarrassment for me, for secondhand embarrassment. But yeah, it's pretty funny. So one of the things I do is I use Photoshop to help me with my reference. It's a very useful technique to anyone who isn't familiar with it. So what you can do is I overlay my reference and my and a photo of my painting, and then I can view them on top of each other to see, positioning of things. It's a very helpful technique that not everyone's familiar with. And you don't doesn't have to be Photoshop, by the way. I'm not an Adobe fanboy at all. Quite the opposite. But yeah, you can you can do that to help. I find it very helpful. Let's see. Oh, Don Lee, I don't know if you're still here, but I did um I did see that Night Rain is out, and I have not played it yet. I'm very sad about that. Hey Des, welcome back. Yeah, I'm kind of sad about Night Rain. I don't I'm on the fence if I should buy it or not. It's really designed to be, to play with friends, and I don't have anyone who plays those games. I was going to say I don't have any friends, but that's not true. I just don't have anyone who friends who played that game, that type of game. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I might wait. Um, I know you can play it by yourself, but it's not the same. Um, so I might I might get it later on sale or something so I can play it by myself. But yeah, sort of maybe. And Des says I'm back, sort of maybe. Well, welcome back, sort of maybe. You missed out. Well, I got rated um on Twitch, so you missed out on the excitement. But I did post a link in chat with the Instagram of Peculiar Colors, the one who rated me, the chant. So you can check out their stuff. They have a wide variety of stuff. Very fun. I was saying that one of the reasons the anatomy of knees are weird is because of the kneecap, but it's also because of like the weird two bone thing that's happening where it's like we have the shin and then there's that extra bone. I think that also makes it weird. Although we do have that in the arms, but it's very different in positioning. I feel like the elbows are a little easier to understand. But, maybe that's just me. I'm going to try and just do some very, very minor details here. And I'll probably be calling it a day, honestly. I want to soften these edges a bit. Yeah, those edges are way too harsh. French fries, welcome. Hey, how you doing? It's been a while. It has been a while. How are you? I'm glad to see you. Well, virtually, but still. So I went on my trip and everything. I'm back. I got sick r- on my trip the last like day or so, so I had to take a bit of time to recover, but I am back now and I'm starting to work on new stuff. Doing good. New job hours, so I don't have time to watch, stream, or paint anymore. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I really hope that you can find time to watch me and not paint. No, I'm kidding. I really hope you can find time to paint. Uh, I know how I know how much that can affect someone who, you know, is like who that's very important to. So I hope you can find time to paint. My not that you asked me, but my recommendation to you and anybody who, um, is finds it hard to, um, find time to paint is to, um, the best advice I can say is if you can figure out a system where the setup time is absolutely setup and breakdown time is absolutely minimum. For me, that was a huge thing. Once I figured that out and I realized that and I figured out a way where I can just set up and break down in, under 10 minutes, it was huge. I know not everybody can, but there are a lot of things you can do. And you probably know this already. It's for anyone who is in that situation. That's my best advice personally that I can give is a setup that is quick and fast makes all the difference. So yeah. And congrats on the new job though. I hope it's a good thing. So congrats on that. But yeah. And for anyone who is asking like how can you have a setup that's so quick? Um, I don't wash my brushes. I rinse them off in Gamsol and then I I put them in a oil uh thing, like just a mineral oil to stand there. So they're always wet. So I have to clean them before and after when I use them, but I don't have to like wash them. It's just a quick, rinse. And then I have my palette, which is on glass, that comes off and goes in this. Um, and I have a lid for it, and I just cover it. It's an airtight lid. It's this thing. This is the Masterson Stay Wet palette for oils, and this has a cotton ball with clove oil to help it stay. All the paint stays wet longer that way. I don't use what's it called? Oh my God. Earth tones, earth pigments, because they dry too quickly. That's my preference. They dry on the palette too quickly and it drives me nuts. And then this setup here, all of this just otherwise just stays here. And so that's how I'm able to quickly, uh, set up and tear down kind of thing. Um, so, it doesn't have to be this setup, but there's lots of ways that you can do stuff that are like quick and easy. At least that's my opinion. But regardless, that's for anyone who needs that information. I definitely know that French Fries has watched me for quite a while and knows a lot of that info already. But yeah. Um, French Fries, I'm glad you stopped in. I'm also sorry that you stopped in now. I've been streaming for nearly 3 hours and I'm definitely at the end of my stream. Um, but I'm really glad you stopped by. And like I said, congrats on the new job. I hope it's a really good thing, and you know, I hope your schedule kind of works itself out. And if you have any questions or anything, you're more than welcome, obviously, to ask in the Discord, of course, you know. And before I go, the real star of the show has stopped by to say goodbye to everybody. So perfect timing. Dresden is here. For everyone who is new, this is Dresden. He is one of my three cats. We have three cats and a dog, and he's the one who shows up the most because he likes me the most. Hi, little boy. Aw. But yeah, we call him the star of the show because, let's be honest, he's just so darn cute. I wish you all could hear him purring. One day I'll figure out a way of doing that. I have my mic set up so hopefully you don't hear, all kinds of random sounds, but that also means that you can't hear him purr. Tristan, stop obsessing over the window over there. You can't go there. No, let go of my shirt. Here, Tristan, you can have your tail. Anyways, thank you all for stopping by and watching. I should mention to everyone who is new, I do have YouTube. I do have a YouTube channel and YouTube videos, and I do have prints available on my website for a lot of my paintings, and I do have paintings for my daily painting series, which they are at a reduced price to make it more you know, uh, price friendly for everybody. But yeah, check it out if you are interested. And if you're not in America, the prints, well, actually, I don't think I ship on my website anywhere outside of America, but message me and we can work it out. It's hard to set it up automatically. So, Des says, what a cutie. Yeah, he's adorable. He really, really wants to go to the window that's over there, but I have a table over there with all my art supplies, which means he's not allowed to jump on that table, despite how much he wants to go see that window. All right. Anyways, thank you all so much for hanging out with me today and, all the good art talk. And I will be back. I will be streaming Wednesday if everything goes as planned. There's no thunderstorms Wednesday. All right. Have a good weekend, everybody. I don't raid because I haven't figured out how to do that with the dual streams. So sorry, everybody. No raiding. I don't know how to do that. It's beyond me technically. All right. Good night, everyone.